Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Not Playing Magic. I am your host, Not, and I am playing Magic. So let's take a look at this first pack. The rare is not a first pick rare. It's an interesting card, but it's not going to see much play in any deck ever. So going through our uncommons, we have Vigilante Justice, which is not something I'm comfortable taking right now. Of the vampire, it's actually a very good vampire. It's great in the black-red deck, but I don't think that that's where we're going to be just yet. Mad Prophet, a very good card. Seraph, a very good first pick. She just sort of gets up in the air and keeps the board kind of stalled. Everyone knows at this point about how good Seraph is, I feel. That being said, I think she is the best card in the pack. We will give some love to Mad Prophet and Peel. I just don't think they're as good of a first pick as Seraph, so we'll take the Seraph here. And with that, we get a very good on-color Miracle. This guy can pretty much save the day at the end of games. And if you Miracle him on turn 3 or 4, you can generally get rid of something worth getting rid of, I guess. Looking at the pack, we also have a Righteous Blow, so when we send that to our left, they might still think white's open because there'll be a blow and a Geist left. So that's something to consider. Also, wouldn't mind being the white-green guy, and Ranger and Peddler are both very good cards, very low in the curve, but I think until we know what our second color is, taking the Banishing Stroke is going to be the play here, as it is very good, almost no matter when it comes in your hand, as long as it's not in the opener. Okay. Let's see. We don't really have a whole lot of good green or red options, and that's kind of what I was hoping to pair with this. Really no good options at all for a second color in this pack. If we think we're going to play a mostly white slow deck, I don't mind taking a Vessel. Or if we're going to just kind of stay on white and see what keeps coming our way, then we'll probably take the Inquisitor. 2-drops are at a premium, I feel like, in AVR, and I'm happy to grab one here, especially a 2-drop that can actually kind of gum up pretty well. Once you have 3 land down, not many things want to attack into him, so... Okay, well... Might be time to take the dive into red. I really like Mad Prophet. Very good at getting bad cards out of your hand and just... he's a human for the human effects. He's got haste if you need to get in and smash with him on a turn. I just think he's a very good card. With 2 of these floating around already, I think if somebody didn't take the first, then they probably won't take the second, and vice versa. If they did take the first, they'd probably take the second one, so we'll see what happens, but I think the play here is going to be to grab the Mad Prophet over the Nettle Swine and try to go red-white instead of white-green. And in doing that, let's see. This card is very hard to use. Very hard to use in a limited deck. The wall also kind of slows things down a bit for us, but we don't really have any big finishers just yet, so I don't know that we want to be slow right away. However, I do think between the wall and the Vigilante, I'm not excited about either of those cards. I don't think either of those cards are necessarily good or even playable always. I think they're both going to be sort of borderline playable in any deck. But we'll go ahead and just take the wall for now, because we don't know that we're red, and we're not going to try to force red on a Somber Walled Vigilante. Well, it's a good card, and 1-drops are fine in this set. Feel more comfortable just sort of slowing things down until we know exactly what our game plan is. Okay. The Duelist is fine, but there's really not a whole lot that he does. I mean, against the 2 red vampires, he's fine, but 1 has Intimidate. So that really leaves this guy only blocking the vampire that gets the sat counter and the attack counter. And in which case, once he gets big enough, I mean, this card's sure a speed bump, but it's not much more than that. I don't mind Haunted Guardian. We'll go ahead and take the Cloud Shift, though. It's a trick that almost any deck can use, especially ours. Okay, here we go. I feel like we've got a great card to come at us in a 7th pick in the Fervent Cathar. Another nice effect to drop. If you have an opening hand that curves out well with 1 drop, 2 drop, 3 drop, 4 drop, and this is your 3 drop, you can get very far ahead in games. Reforge the Soul is not a card that I would think is going to be play aroundable in limited, so we're going to go ahead and take the Fervent Cathar and try to do this white-red thing. Okay, seeing a Devastation Tide float around this long makes me think that there isn't a blue drafter, and blue is very strong. In my mind, the strongest color. Some people think green is, but I'd rather have the control and tempo of blue than the sort of hope that your bash face green works. In either case, though, we're not going to split off color just yet, and even throwing the Lightning Prowess on like the Angelic Wall can be very good at any point in the game, so we'll take the Lightning Prowess with that pick. Okay, here we have our original pack back, and the pick is going to be between the Call to Serve and the Vigilante Justice. We don't have enough spells to warrant this. If we had maybe 2 Pillars and a Thunderbolt or 2 at this point, okay, we'll consider it. But it's either Vigilante Justice or the Call to Serve. I just don't... We'll take the Call to Serve. Getting one of these guys up in the air, having him attack for 3 or 4 every turn, can be pretty game-changing. Alright, easy pick for us here. We kind of mulled over it a little earlier in the Somber Old Vigilante, and we do want to... In the white-red deck, it's not going to play like the other white decks where you sort of curve out to Giant Angels. We're going to try to curve out very early, and I guess Seraph is almost more of a finisher in this deck, or sort of a staller. Okay, none of these cards are any good, but we'll take the Snare because it's got the most chance to get us. Okay, in this pack, Uncanny Speed can lead to at least some sort of interesting combat tricks or things like that. None of these cards are playable. We'll go ahead and take the Intent with no intent on playing it. And we'll take another green card that affects flyers. Then we'll get past our land. Come on, mountain. Yes. Yes, the faux Hell Vault mountain too. Good one to pick up. I feel like that's good luck for us. Alright. Here we go. We have what I would say is a very stacked pack. Jeez. Soul of the Harvest is a fine card. This Vampire is a fine card. The Vigilante Justice, obviously a fine card. Mistraven, best common in the set, and I don't even think it's close like some people do. Thatcher's Revolt's fine in some decks, especially with 2 Vigilante Justices being passed in the first couple of packs. Peddler's a great card. Butcher Ghoul's integral to black decks. I mean, this is just a giant pack. I think, however, our choices are going to be in this pack between the Vampire and I think that might be it. I don't think the Swamp Walk guy is better than the Vampire. He does kind of crap on black decks, and even black-red decks with the 3 toughness. He can't be pillared, he can't be banishing stroked. He's a good card, but I think that he's a card you can see in like a 5th or 6th pick. We'll take the Vampire. With all of our little weenies we're going to have in this deck, he has a chance if we get him out on turn 4 to get fairly large. And I just realized that he's got an interesting thing going on in his hair. I don't know what that is. Kind of looks like battery connections, so we'll go ahead and take him. Oh, and the mythic that never will see play in Descent into Madness. This pack looks a whole lot like our last pack, with a Guide, a Peddler, an Explorer, and an Inquisitor. So the question for us here is, do we want another Inquisitor or do we want the Explorer? And I think that's going to be pretty easy, and then we'll take the Explorer. He's a good toughness in this format, and sits well in our 3-drop spot. I would be interested to see if somebody plays Descent into Madness and sort of descends himself to death. Okay, this is a this is a pack and a half for us. The pick is going to either be between the Stonewright, the Pilgrim, or the Heirs. I like the Heirs a lot. We've seen a lot of red kind of come through, so I don't know that there's a whole lot of... there might only be one other red drafter, which could be a good ticket to ride this guy in. However, in the 4-drop spot, having two double colors with double red and double white kind of scares me off. Stonewright is a very good uncommon. I would have no problem picking this guy. 4 uncommons in this pack. Huh. Okay, I guess that's why this guy's a foil. So we're going to go ahead and take the Pilgrim. Giving someone else lifelink in addition to our Seraph is going to be very good. And he's a 2-drop, yada yada yada. It's just a very good card. Alright, the only thing worth noting in this pack is what we're going to be passing by. And I think that seeing a Bone Splinters go by, just something to keep in mind. Not like you can really do much about it. If anything, you can cloud shift a Bone Splinters target. It really puts you up, and they 2-froed themselves, basically. Stern Mentor, I don't know if we saw one in pack 1, but I'm not too worried about the mill strategy, especially in a sort of quick white-black or white-red deck. So the pick here is just obviously going to be another Cathar. Getting these to come out on turn 3 and 4 even is still a very good line of play. A voice will table at some point in this draft, and we'll get it if it does, if we still need one. Okay, 3 good cards here. The Tomb is a very good card, especially in the deck that we have, where you look and we got a lot coming out at 2, and a lot coming out at 3. If we can get a few more 1-drops, then that's fine. We're light on removal. Righteous Blow is very good. And the Gold Knight Redeemer is also a very good card. My only thought is we're going to be gaining enough life as is that we can go ahead and take the removal here. It's at more of a premium in what we've got built right now, I feel like. Okay, we'll happily take a Pillar at this point. Seeing that card go 6th in a pack is fine with us, especially when we're the ones picking it up. Another Bone Splinters going by and a Cloud Shift. Gang, I just feel like is really too slow in this format. A guy on Pure MTGO, I'm kind of sad that I forgot his name, but there's an article up about the speed of Limited right now, and most of these AVR Limited drafts are ending on turns 7 and 8, with 8 being the highest and 7 being the second highest turn to finish, so odds are you're not going to get a gang out in any case. We'll go ahead and take the faster play, almost always. Okay, here's a good pack for us. This card is fine, but it's not fine to pick unless you know that there's a lot of artifacts or enchantments that can blow you up, and for us there's not really that I can think of. Would like to pick up another Seraph to kind of lock down the air in case someone else picked up a couple calls to serve and are going to get guys up and flying. Farbog Explorer is fine, but he's more of a one-of in a main deck, and a Handwear Lancer is, to me, as many of as we can get in a main deck. A very good common, so we'll take him. Okay, Thatcher's Revolt's a fine card. I just don't see what it does for us right now. I have a hard time picking this card, period, but you know what? He might be one of the 1-drops we put in as our 22nd pick. Whereas Thatcher's Revolt, we don't have any tech around it at all. I just don't see what it could do to us. Well, actually, we do have this Vampire. Yeah, okay, we'll go ahead and take the Revolt. I don't see us playing the Duelist in this deck either way. And we're kind of rewarded with a Vigilante Justice a little bit late. That is the 3rd or 4th one, because I think we got 2 in pack 1, and then our opening pick of pack 2 had one, unless this is that pack tabling and I'm stupid. Yes. Okay, so that is what just happened. And interesting to see the Butcher Ghoul get by. So that went a whole round through, and there was no other good black card in that pack, so there is no black drafter, we can probably assume. We'll take the Vigilante Justice here. Alright, this is just going to be a hate pick because we're not playing the intent. We'll take the flyer that has a chance to kill some of our flyers, I suppose. And hide black. Okay, guys or banners. Banner's not a very good card. Guys is a fine card. We'll go ahead and take guys. What we really need to see, and we haven't even seen any come through, is a Riot Ringleader or a Cruin Striker. Just haven't even seen one go by. We'll take the Fleeting Distraction and just hope that nobody is the super aggressive mill. I've played mill quite a bit in this format, and I've never lost to it. Not even really came close, but always something to keep in mind. So what I would like to do in the last pack is pick up a Cruin Striker or a Ringleader in any amount of each. Sort of gives us the 2 and 3 drop where we wanna sit, and it'll up our creature count, which is currently 11, and that's a little low. Okay, do we want the foil land to further increase our karma, or the terrible enchantment? We want the foil land. That's the second one of that land card we've picked up, and I have good vibes around that land. Alright, we'll take the card that no one's going to play, an Unhallowed Pact. And let's see if we can get a Plains Pass to us. That'll be even more good karma. Oh, look at that. I feel like that we're supposed to be red-white when the lands you get past are on color. Alright, well, we did not get any of the cards we wanted to see here. I would have first picked, at this point in the draft, I would have first picked a Striker or a Ringleader. We really need to get on one of those. Primal Surge, if a game we're playing goes to turn 10, I'm just going to be very sad, because that means we drew absolutely none of our quick and aggressive guys, so I'm not too worried about that going by. In fact, I gotta imagine that Surge will just table through, and we'll see it on pick 37 or whatever our pack back pick is. So the pick for us really here is just going to be a Stone Right, a better 1-drop than we currently have in hand, and you put him with the Seraph or something at some point in the game, and he can be pretty good. Okay, here's a pick between obviously the Prophet and the Commander. With the way our deck's going, Commander is kind of like a Riot Ringleader substitute for us. Comes out a turn later, but does a little bit more. So we'll go ahead and pick up the Commander. By the time we get to turn 5, if we have 2-drop, 3-drop in hand, and you can drop both of them with a Commander out on the field, that's very good play in my mind. So you start looking at some of these guys, a Lancer 2/2 that becomes a 4/4 on turn 5 or 6 in that scenario, and with First Strike, along with bonding maybe this guy with First Strike, and it can get very good. Another good green card to pass in the Howlgeist. He's a card that if we see come out, we're going to pretty much hold on to our pillar in that game for Howlgeist. Righteous Blow is going to be the pick here because it's really between that and the Scalding Devil. And I feel like Righteous Blow is a better pick. Okay. Builder's Blessing should be used in a Vigilance deck, but I feel like most people just use it in any deck, and that's not the way to do it. I got beat by an Eaten by Spiders main deck, if you saw my last video. I had a deck that I thought was a good 3-0 deck, and it ended up 2-1-ing because the guy main decked Eaten by Spiders and some other odd card, which is just, I'm not going to play around that ever. So here we'll go ahead and take another Mad Prophet. He's a fine card, and this pack is just bad. No one's going to get anything that they really want, I think, out of it, except for this Mad Prophet. Geez, would we play 3 Mad Prophets? I gotta think no, but that's a whole hell of a lot of cycling through. We're probably not going to Rush of Blood. The pick here is going to be Zealous Strike. I don't know why people pick Poltergeist, except for, it's a forced pick on color and, the 13th or 14th pick. Zealous Strike is a great trick. And can I rant about Zealous Strike and the fact that whatever the card was in Innistrad that gave a guy +2/+0 and first strike. This card is in the same block for the same cost and is just outright better in every way. Don't know why it was printed, but we'll be happy to snatch it up here. Okay, here we're going to take the Thunderbolt. Not sure if we're going to main deck it, but there's really no other pick in this pack, and it's sad to see blue seem open, but that's not what we are. Oh, talk about a great pick. How many cards have gone in this pack already? 9, 6. This is the 7th pick of this pack to get a ringleader. It's got to make me think that we're one of the few people playing red at this point. Okay. Leap of Faith or Cloud Shift. I'd rather just have a second Cloud Shift. Leap of Faith is fine, but you have to keep so much mana back to use it, and we are hoping that, considering we end at basically 4-drop, that we're not going to be keeping much mana back on any turn with all of the tech we have going with Vigilante Justice, Ringleader, Gold Knight Commander. I just don't see myself wanting to hold back 3 mana in any game, so we'll take Cloud Shift. Alright, here's our pack back, and Scalding Devil is fine. I was actually kind of hoping we got one. This guy, to note, it's not a tap effect, so you can drop him on a game where you take him down to maybe 2 or 3 on your final turn, drop this guy, and then pump him twice and win. That also happened to me before, so he's a nice card to pick up here. Alright, we'll gladly take another Mad Prophet over the Malicious Intent. I just don't see what card we would want to put this on for that effect. Just a bizarre effect, I think, in general. So, we're going to take the Mad Prophet. Probably not going to play 3, but it's an interesting thought. Okay, Angel's Mercy. If we're the deck that needs to stall out and gain life, then you guys can murder me on deck tech, because I've certainly built it wrong. So we'll take Scalding Devil here. Okay, none of these cards are very good for us. We'll take the Builder's Blessing and probably just not play it. And here's where I was talking about, where you pick the Raging Poltergeist, because there's nothing else to pick at this point. But that's actually a nice art on that island. Never noticed. And we'll hate out the passage, obviously. Ooh, what an omen to swamp your last pick. It's not what I wanted to see. Okay, I think that this is going to be a great deck, and it's not going to be short on playables, which is the concern in AVR for a lot of people when I see their drafts. I tend to be right on the edge of, having 25 cards that I don't mind playing, but there is some truth in, once you put 20 on the bottom, you're really kind of thinking through those last 3 and what's not as bad as the other. So, alright, let's go ahead and put the cards that we know we're going to play in. Jeez, we got a lot of red cards that we want to play. Let's hold off on the Vigilante Justice here and hold off on the Thatcher's Revolt, because I'd really only play both of those cards together. Let's see what our deck looks like without those. I feel like we can play 2 of Prophet here. Okay, so let's take a look at this. We would like to get more in the 2-drop range, but when we look at what 2-drops we have available, it's going to be a Devil, an Uncanny Speed, an Intent, a Thunderbolt, which I think is a fine sideboard. Actually, probably worth maining, but we did see a lot of blue go by, so blue has a fair amount of flyers, and so does white. I just don't know that this is main deckable at this point. It looked like green was being picked up, and to some degree black, but if we got 3 players fighting over green, we're fine with that, and we probably don't need to main deck a Thunderbolt just yet. So what do we want to do? Do we want to take the Revolt and try to tag it with Justice? Let's look at our creature type. I have a feeling, we're very heavy human. Alright, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 humans. Yeah, that's a good amount of humans. It does slow us down a bit to put those 2 cards in the deck. I don't know that that's where we want to be, but all of our 3 drop or 2 drops are quality 2 drops. Even if it's the wall, it still gums up. If it's the Pilgrim, I mean, we're probably linking it to In a Perfect World, um, the Lancer. So I gotta think that we're in a fine spot speed wise, and we do have 2 1 drops that I'm fine playing. So the question here is, if we toss in the Justice and the Revolt, what does that leave us with in hand? That leaves us with a Geyser Fire, which is really just a kind of a subpar removal, and we have a Pillar, 2 Righteous Blows, and the Banishing Stroke. I think those are going to be fine in this deck, and if anything, it's probably 1 too heavy in the Righteous Blow. So we're leaving on the table. Let's see cards that we like that we'll leave on the table. First, let's kind of pull this down to be able to see exactly what our curve looks like creature-wise. And 15 creatures, I think, is a fine spot to be. I'm going to put Thatcher's Revolt down here, but we obviously know that it's kind of a creature. So if you take a look, we do have a pretty aggressive deck here, despite the fact that we weren't as quick as I had hoped in the 2-drop, 1-drop area. We got the decent one in Stone Right, and we've got 2 good 2-drops, I feel like, and then the blocker. So I'm actually not very worried about the speed. I know I said that a couple times now, but I think this is a fine deck. I don't know if 2 Righteous Blows is the right number, though, because I don't want to get an opening hand of, 4 lands, 2 Righteous Blows, and like a Vigilante Justice or something else that kind of makes us just be sitting back. That's not the spot I want to be in with this deck. However, I'm not really sure what else I would main deck in here. It's like I said, the Zealous Strike is one of the few tricks we have, but so is just blowing somebody up who's blocking us. That's also a trick that I like. Though, as far as 1-drop removal goes, probably having 1 blow, 1 pillar, and a Cloud Shift as a quasi trick, I gotta think that's fine. Whereas a Zealous Strike basically does what a Righteous Blow does for me, except it can kill a bigger creature, I feel like. I mean, imagine putting a first strike on this guy. Most people know at this point that's gonna kill almost everything in the format and live and lifelink. So I think that I might have thought myself into this, and I think that it's a better place to be. I'm gonna go ahead and submit this as is, with the idea being, if we face a really, really fast deck, we have the option to Righteous Blow and Guy's main deck. If we face a slow deck that gets some things in the air, we do still have a Thunderbolt and Call to Serve. I just like the way this deck is shaping up, so gonna see what they suggest for land. 8/8. Oh, did I throw 24 cards in? What the? Oh, I main decked the Thunderbolt on accident. Okay, let's resuggest here. 9. No, we don't have we have the double white card plus white's our 2-drop land. We're gonna go ahead and do 9/8. Yeah, that doesn't look like I wanted to. Anyways, this is unimportant because it's just the end of deck tech, and thanks for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe. If you'd like to comment on any aspect of them, again, these are some of my first ones, so I do appreciate comments and subscriptions and passing the word along. So thanks, and I'm happy to put out this draft for you guys, and enjoy watching the coming rounds.